It appears that I have a big piece of clay sitting on top of the model, and I always like to think of my 3D models as pieces of clay. I am going to perform a slice command, and that is like using a knife in order to shape my roof as needed. I'm going to use the slice command a couple of different ways. First, I'm going back to slice and selecting the roof, and I'm going to select based on a plane, or think of it as a cutting plane. And right now it is the XY plane, because I would like to have the top of this solid align with the top of the roof here. So I'm going to select XY, specifying a point on the XY plane. I'm going to select this point, specifying a point on desired side of the plane. I have indicated to use B for both, but this time I'm going to select this point down here. By picking there, notice how it eliminated that top portion automatically for me. And now I am going to complete the roof using the slice command, but this time using 3-point. What I'd like to do is isolate this entities layer, going to 2D mode. I would like to slice it once again using 3 points. I'm going to select slice, selecting the object, entering, and it is by default going to allow me to do 3-point slice. Now if you think about it, it only requires 3 points to create a cutting plane. So I'm going to use this as my first point. Turning ortho off, I'm going to select this as the second point. And finally selecting this midpoint as the third point on the plane. I'm going to type B for both. As you can see, it sliced away this portion. I can highlight it and I can delete. I will do the same thing on the other side. I will select slice, selecting this object. 3-point automatically comes up, so I will pick this as my first endpoint, selecting this as the second, and selecting this as the third. I'm going to type both, and now I can delete that portion. And now to get the other sides even, I am going to draw a line from this point up. And what I will do now is rotate the last entity I drew, which is the line, using this as the base point. I'm going to rotate it minus 90 degrees to this angle, turning ortho on and clicking. I'm going to orbit about this model so that you can see how this line is drawn. What I'd like to do is use that line to help me establish the next slice. And the reason I selected that line and drew it is because it does follow the slope that I need. So once again, slice, selecting this object, 3-point, point number 1, point number 2 is here, and point number 3 would be here. Typing B for both, and now I can erase this line. And what I will do now, instead of erasing this portion, I'm going to select mirror, mirroring it about the first midpoint here, and as I've shown you before, It does indicate the midpoint, but the target appears at the XY plane of 0, 0. Picking this midpoint, ortho on, picking here, deleting the source object, selecting Y for yes, changing the shade mode so that you can see what's going on, and now I will select subtract. Subtract from this solid, take away this one, and enter. And I now have the roof. Restoring the previous layer state, I have the makings of the roof, and I do have to do some work here at this location.